As we told you yesterday, the Democratic Party operates like a mob, a dishonest monolith where everyone must say the same thing, even when it's the opposite of what they say in private. Every morning, Democrat officials get talking points emailed to them. Pundits, they're on the same email chain. That's why, if you haven't noticed, they all use the same phrases, the same buzzwords. Democracy's at stake, Russian disinformation, Joe Biden loves his son. They are militantly disciplined, their operation, controlled by wealthy power brokers and the intelligence agencies. Democrats are never off message, except this week, after the CIA spoon-fed the Beltway the green light. Joe Biden should bow out and Kamala should follow. So, the media takes their cues and is now asking, is Joe too old? Should he resign? Some Democrats are willing to roll the dice with another candidate. Other Democrats, no, can't take that risk. If Donald Trump wins, a handful of them are going to get indicted. They're terrified and would push Biden in a wheelchair onto the convention floor next summer to save their own skin.
When people say to me, well, he's old, yeah, that's right. But look at what he's gotten done. And then, if that's not enough for you, look at the alternative, a wrecking crew.
This is personal. The wrecking crew's heading straight for Chappaqua. So everybody's on their own. They're out for themselves. So for the first time since the Camelot days, the intel agencies, the media, and the Democratic Party are all at odds about what to do about it. One side's ready to pull the pin, while the other side's trying to jump on the grenade. I've never seen top Democrats in such a precarious position.
Among a lot of Democrats about him.
Well, I travel a bit in those circles of Democrats, nationally and politically, and while there may be some concerns, everybody's for him. Overwhelmingly, everybody's for him.
Do you think there's any chance he does not continue running?
I hope not. I hope not.
All Nancy has is hope. Does Nancy know something we don't? So Nancy and Hillary both agree Joe's old, but an old Joe is all they have to stop the revenge tour. Don't you see how this has nothing to do with you, the economy, the border, saving schools? It's just a personal vendetta. Trump's not allowed back in the White House because he's going to hold them accountable for what they did to him. It's a petty political fight that ignores the people of the country. The Democrats are being forced back to the negotiating table by the intel agencies. They're offering a compromise. Vanquishing the entire ticket's too tall an order. Why don't we just sacrifice the VP?
Is Vice President Kamala Harris the best running mate for this president?
He thinks so, and that's what matters. And by the way,
you think so?
She's very politically astute. I don't think people give her enough credit.
Do you think she is the best running mate, though?
She's the vice president of the United States. So when people say to me, well, why isn't she doing this or that? I said, because she's the vice president. That's the job description. You don't do that much.
Pelosi just pushed Kamala off a cliff. Next in line, Democrat Jamie Raskin.
Do you think Vice President Kamala Harris is the best running mate for President Biden? And what do you make of Speaker Pelosi's answer there?
I mean, there didn't seem to be anything wrong with that answer.
That hurts. But Tapper wasn't finished. Let him go.
Do you think Kamala Harris is the best running mate for President Biden? Yes or no?
I mean, I don't know what else I can say other than she would be
yes.
an excellent running mate and an excellent vice president. I don't know whether President Biden has named his running mate. We're going to a convention next summer. I have not seen any public opinion polling. You know, you might be a stronger vice presidential running mate than her or me or anybody else.
I don't know whether Biden has named his running mate. What? I'm pretty sure he has, Raskin. But like most things, President Biden's not in charge. He doesn't get to pick his running mate. His running mate will get picked for him. We might have to get the superdelegates to stick a knife in Kamala's back at the convention in Chicago. And what politician hasn't seen polling? Did Raskin just nominate himself for VP? Tapper for VP? They hate this woman. Even Whoopi says Kamala isn't qualified.
Of all of the vice presidents we've had in the last, say, 30 years, did anybody ever think any of them were qualified?
But that was too much for Sunny Hostin, who anointed herself spokesperson for Black America and issued a threat to the president.
I would be very careful, President Biden, about getting rid of Kamala Harris because we will not support you.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
My opinion.
No, your opinion is valid and beautiful and all of that. But when was the last time you saw anybody get rid of a vice president?
If Biden gets rid of Kamala Harris and inserts someone else, he will lose the black vote.
Even if it's another black woman like Val
We're
Demings
not interchangeable.
Black voters are not going to abandon the Democratic Party if Biden drops Kamala. They're just not. I mean, you've seen Johnny's interviews. Kamala Harris is not well known in the community.
As a Californian, how proud are you of Kamala Harris?
All she does is laugh.
What has she done for my community?
I don't know who that is.
Do you like her laugh?
It's kind of annoying.
What about Kamala Harris?
I haven't heard very much from her.
Kamala Harris loves her electric buses.
We don't need that, Kamala.
She loves a lot of things. She don't love her people.
Ooh. I've never seen the Democratic media matrix so out of touch with their own base. And I've never seen their messaging machine so discombobulated. When was the last time Sonny, Whoopi, Hillary, and Nancy all disagreed? Palpable doubt is emanating from every pore of the left. Joe Biden is only useful as a Trump blockade. He doesn't have to be able to talk or walk as long as if Trump turns the doorknob to the White House and Joe Biden keeps it locked. But that lock is looking faulty. Brand new Fox News poll out. Trump's beating Biden by 2, 48-46. Not only that, but most Republicans are beating Biden. And let's go inside the numbers. Trump making enormous gains with suburban women, blacks, Hispanics, young voters. Biden's cratering. We're watching a slow motion disintegration of Biden's hold on the party. The president, now forced to campaign, traveled all of 3 miles today to the notorious swing state of Maryland, where he told you that you'd be better off now than you were 4 years ago.
They should know the choice between Bidenomics and MAGAnomics. Look, their plan, MAGAnomics, is more extreme than anything America's ever seen before.
That's a lie. A few years ago, under Trump, American average income for a household, $78,000. Today, it's $74,000 under Joe Biden. Americans are losing money. Not only is no one buying these lies, no one's even interested in listening to him. Here's a shot of the president's venue today. That's it. He spoke at a college. Where were all the students? Looked like a Gutfeld show. I think there's probably 75 people there. That is not a presidential campaign event. It's just not. And now CNN's treating him like a Republican.
When did Biden actually visit Ground Zero?
He went 9 days after the attack, Brianna, September 20th. 2001. This president has a pattern at this point of either inventing or embellishing stories about his own past, his biography. He did it 3 times in one speech last month alone. He claimed he had witnessed a bridge collapse in Pittsburgh when he actually showed up about 6 hours later. He also repeated a favorite false story that I and others have debunked over and over again about a supposed conversation with an Amtrak train conductor he was friends with, who was actually deceased at the time the conversation would have had to take place. He said that he used to drive a tractor trailer. He used to drive an 18-wheeler. Never happened.
The last time Biden was fact-checked this hard was when he plagiarized. Today, the New York Times said Joe Biden might not make it. Compared him to Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who passed away in office. All of this is impeachment's looming. Primetime has no idea what's going to happen, and we're not going to make predictions. But we can tell you the Biden-Harris ticket, according to Democrats and the polls, doesn't look like a winning one. So changes are going to have to be made. We don't know what those changes are. But we do know that changes will be forced upon them because they don't control their own destinies, which means there's going to be resistance. And the only way the Democrats know how to fight is dirty.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.